All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
All right, we have this picture right here, posted on our Alliance chat. So we'll start with decos, and then I'll switch over to expectations from season one. I'm mainly gonna talk about week one, two, three, and maybe four, depending on how time is allotted and all that good stuff. But hey, thank you for taking your time to coming out to some training for Last War. Try to mute your mic if you're able to, please, so it doesn't distract anybody. I am recording, and you already know we'll get Vay to do a summary of the instructions that I give out, and we'll also do them in different languages also as well. All right. So let us begin. All right. So what are decos? All right. Decos is basically another boost. All right. For pretty much your base. All right. Whether you're attacking, whether you're defending. All right. They're just another boost. All right. For you to get. All right. There's a little chart right here. Pretty much explains like the ultra rare decos and which ones are like the most valuable ones of them all. All right, and the main ones are pretty much the holiday ones. All right, especially these three right here. All right, because they give damage reduction. All right, they give a percentage. All right, so keep it in your head. If it has a percentage, all right, if that deco has a percentage, that deco is pretty valuable. All right, because you'll see as we actually go into the decos, you'll see the difference. Because think about it, 450 attack boost is 450 attack boost. 2%, all right, increase of attack boost, all right, is 2% increase as you keep increasing your attack boost. So every time your attack boost goes up by 10%, 450 percent, you're getting an additional 2%, if that makes sense. All right. So always remember that if they have a percentage, a very percentage deco, all right, which is usually these up here, all right, and that's about it. All right, all of these down here, the B tier, they're basically they're like generic attack boosts, like 1,000 attack boosts or 1,000 defense. You know, 20,000 HP. All right, and then these right here are just like they're good. They're still good decos. All right, like the pyramid right here is for construction. All right, this one right here is for the secret task for you to get more of those chests. All right, with decos also, your goal is to get them to level three. All right, level three should be your goal for each of your single decos. All right, it's just to get them to level three. Then eventually you want to get them to level four, and you'll see why. All right, when I switch over to the game right now in a little bit about it. Let me change screens real quick. All right, and change screen right here. Everybody can see my base. Sweet. All right, right here the decoration room is pretty much where you could kind of see your decos. Here, the very first tab, all right, is like an overview of all your decos and all of them combined together on like what they give out. As you can see, I have critical damage. I got 6% of that. I got that 2%, damage reduction. All right, you'll see from which deco I got that from. I got a nice little increased monster damage. There goes that pyramid right here, and the secret mobile squad and all that good stuff. All right, right here, all right, is where all your decos are at. These are the ultra rare ones. All right, over here your SSR, and then over here are your SR. All right, the SRs like they're cheap versions. Like they barely give out anything. 19 defense. All right, your SSSR. All right, you kind of get these from the sleigh. They're all right. They're not the greatest. But I wouldn't pump too much into these decos over here unless you're getting them for free. If you're getting them for free through a truck, through sleighs, all right, then obviously this is where they'll go. But your ultra rare are the cream of the crop, and as you can see, I mainly got all of mine to level 3. All right, this one is at 4 because I got Taylor. All right, and you'll see why you want to get them at 3. So I'm gonna show you the prime example. So I got the Joyful Bunny. All right, Joyful Bunny is a what? It's a S tier. All right, the next big event where they're giving out decos, I'm definitely pushing my Joyful Bunny. All right, because if I go right here, if I get her to level 3, that's a 1% extra of damage reduction. That's a percentage right there. All right, and what do we say about percentage? Percentage is top tier, so that's going to increase me to 3% damage reduction. All right, but as you can see, to get Joyful Bunny to level 2, I'll need 2 more Joyful Bunnies. All right, to get her to level 2. All right, still doesn't do me much. You need to get it to level 3. Level 3 is when you start receiving the good benefits of those percentage. All right, so level 3 is the goal. All right, but you'll need 2. Um, every single deco, if you're trying to get them from level 2 to level 3, you're gonna need 6 decos. All right, 6 of that deco. So that means I gotta collect 6 cor corn that word right there. All right. To be able to get this finally to level 3.
Cornucopia.
Huh?
Cornucopia.
That word that he just said. All right, for me to get that boost skill damage percentage. All right, there's multiple ways that you can do it. Number one is obviously you wait till the event happens, and hopefully they give out, or you have to buy because it's typically you buy these decos. All right, for you to actually get Joyful Bunnies. The other way of doing it is using the universal decos. All right, which are these right over here. You go to your inventory. Uh, these universal decos. You need 150 universal decos to create one deco. All right, so right now I only have enough to create one deco of whatever it is that I need. So that's why I'm saving it till I get more. All right, let me go back. So right now, if I wanted to get Joyful Bunny to 2, I'll need either some more Joyful Bunnies or I need 150. All right, of these universal decos, so I'll technically need 300. All right, universal decos to get Joyful Bunny. All right, to level 2. All right, decos provide a significant boost in battle. All right, because most people don't go for it. All right, they definitely don't go. All right, for the ones that have percentage. All right, like the Joyful Bunny. Where are you at? The torch. The torch is where I'm getting my very first damage reduction. Right here is where I'm getting my other damage reduction. All right, and then eventually I'm gonna be getting the Joyful Bunny damage reduction. All right, they're always on. All right, whether you're attacking PvP, whether you're attacking in the arena. All right, decos are always on. I think of decos as basically like a skin on steroids. All right, because you're just getting so much of a better boost. How would you read it? Oh shoot, wrong one. On some battle reports. All right, if you go to battle reports, you go to army. You'll read the decorations right over here. But we really want to see like what are these decos doing. So if you scroll down, all right, and you go right here, this one right here, you can see like I am beating this player right here, all right, big time. All right, when it comes on to decos, all right, I got a 2% damage reduction. All right, I got critical damage at 6%. And then 1 point. This is against a player, so this won't even matter. But these percentage right here, they go up. The stronger you get, all right, whether you have these at a 2%, all right, the stronger you get, the more percentage you're gonna get off of that deco. All right, if that makes sense. Any questions so far on decos?
Yeah. Delivered yesterday. Which ones would you use the unidecos for, and which ones you would never use unidecos for?
Hold on. Let me go back to the picture. All right. Can everybody see the picture?
Yep.
Hold on, let me pull it up on the screen. There we go. All right. I will for sure use it on these. All right. Right now, my next focus, all right, is my joyful bunny. All right, my joyful bunny is like that's my next focus because I already got this to level 3, and I already got this to level 3. So my next focus is gonna be joyful bunny. I will also use my universal decos on these right here. Everything B and below, I will not use my universal decos for. All right, because one, I pretty much get all these. All right, I get this one, I get this one, and where you at? I pretty much everything B and below, minus like the jack, this one, and this one, and this one. Everything else we kind of pretty much get it for free. All right, we get the missiles for free. We get those through the train. All right, I get technically this one for free because I have Taylor. We get the bombers for free. We get this one for free. We definitely get this one for free from the Honorable Campaign. We also get these for free, and we get this for free from the Secret Task. So B and below, I will not use my universal decos. I will only use them on these up here. All right, specifically these three right here. All right, because as you get stronger, or as your enemy is stronger, damage reduction, like, it takes a lot out of them. Like, let's say they have 1,000,000 in attack. 3% of 1,000,000. That's gonna be a lot. And then when you start factoring in your defense and all that stuff, like, they're gonna it'll show a big difference, especially if you're going against somebody who's even against you. All right, but they don't have any decos. Like, it will show. You're gonna be like, how did I win? We're pretty much even. But does that answer the question?
Real quick, there's a dig right now going on an excavator if you want to jump on it.
Okay, it's got 4 minutes. All right. While the dig is happening and I'm changing screens, any questions so far? Any questions about decos? No questions about decos?
Where you get your unidecos?
All right. Here. Let me just get this.
Rafi, I do have one too while you're pulling that up.
Mm-hmm.
I might have missed it. You might have said it, but which one of those three should I dump my unidecos into or not?
All right. The top three.
Right. Is there one of those that are better than another, or does it just depend on what I have?
It depends which one you have. All right. If you have any of those top three, all right, any of them. It doesn't matter if you have the bunny first, and then you have the sign second. If you have any of those three, I will prioritize those three, all right, over anything. If that makes sense. And I did not get nothing off the dig. All right.
Sorry for
Uh-huh.
If you have all three of those on top, but you only get 1,000 unidecos, which one you pick to upgrade though?
if I had all three already, and I still wanted to
No,
upgrade.
if all of them, if all those three with damage reduction are at at level 1, and you only have 1,000 unit echoes, which is enough just to upgrade either all of them to level 2 or just one to level 3, then which one you would choose?
Out of the three, right? Out of the top three, or
Yeah.
the three are already at level 3.
Yeah, I wanted to have a quick joke, but it's stretching over. Let's just skip to the next question.
If all three of those decos are already at level 3, all right, and I have 1,000 unit decos, I will focus on critical damage next. All right, that
Why
would
not the skill damage?
huh?
Why not the skill damage?
Why not skill damage?
Mm-hmm.
What if I don't have it? You know,
Would it be wiser to maybe just wait until you get it and save your unit echoes because they're not that easy to get around? I mean, you can get sometimes 20 of them from a train. There are like 50 of them from the weekly VIP store, which absolutely makes sense to buy every time. And there are not many of them.
for the boost skill damage.
Yeah, I guess so. Like it kind of makes sense because like look at the critical damage, right? The mythical radar gives 35% anti crit rate. So
Yep.
meaning like
Yep, but not
I will never strike a crit hit on that hero.
but
It effectively cancels my crit damage as well.
I know, but not everybody has red weapons right now. The only ones that have that are the whales. I'm not gonna fight a whale. I'm fighting somebody that's my level, all right, or doesn't have troops on the wall.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I also want critical damage. All right, you want both. At the end of the day, you want all your decos, all right, at 3. The main reason I'm focusing also on critical damage once I get damage reduction is because I want to hit the world boss harder. All right, I want to do more critical damage on the world boss. All right, and yes, I also want to do some boost skill damage more on the world boss. You know, whenever we go up against the world boss, like critical damage, he doesn't have any radar. All right, guess what's gonna allow me to do once I attack the world boss? Crap, it doesn't show it. All right, remember, well, I'll talk about it later. In season 1, your goal is to get mythical. Dang it, where are you at? All right, is to get 10 of these. You're gonna pretty much get 10 of these for free. All right, once you do a certain amount of damage to a world boss. All right.
Oh yeah, to the air world, to the air world boss.
All
You
right.
need to strike him 2 million and then 6 million.
All right. And you should be able to do it. You know, with you could probably even do it with a tank squad. You know, but obviously you got to get their gear up and all that. You know, and getting critical damage up, even boost skill damage up. You know, but that's in season 1 and all that good stuff. All right. Any other questions on unit deco? I think somebody asked where can you get them from?
Yeah.
All right. From VIP.
Rob,
Yes, Al.
I have a question, please. Thank you for asking me to join.
Yep.
In which stores do you think it's worth buying the parts for the core? Everyone, or maybe just some?
You talking about where would it be worth it to buy the unit decos?
Yeah.
All right.
And
There's there's the there's the easy way. There's also the hard way. All right. When we have events. All right. When we have events. All right. Like this past last event was the Valentine one. All right. They gave out unit decos. I think how many unit decos they were giving out, Astro? I forgot.
5,000.
All right, they were giving out 5,000 unit decos. All right, of these right here, 5,000 of them. Granted, yes, you had to buy it. but that's a lot. That's that 5,000 pretty much allows you to upgrade. I want to say three. Was it three?
It's in fact almost five. It will be four, and you will have a lot left, but a little shy of five. I think you need like a 1,050 of them for one or something like this.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much pay to play event. But you receive besides these unit decos extreme amount of other resources if you choose to do that. This is why in the chat I was always saying, guys, don't buy these $5 packs like every day. It makes zero sense. Just save your budget if you're willing to spend on this game. Save your budget and concentrate, focus it to one day when they have this big event. It's pretty much same what we do with versus points, saving the hero shards for a Thursday. Here you just do the same with your hard-earned money.
Yeah. But you could buy them from big events, Sal. All right, that should give you enough to upgrade. I want to say 3 to 4. All right, unit decos, so at least level 3. All right, I want to say 2 or 3. All right, and it's pretty much going to be a fraction of the price of a skin. All right, it's going to be a fraction of the price for the skin. Another place that you can buy them is VIP.
Uh-huh.
All right. The other one is Honor. I know y'all probably looking at me and saying, "Hey, didn't you say to only buy these from over here?" All right, that is true, but I needed this. I needed a certain amount of unit decos to get one of my decos to level 3. So that's why I bought it. I'm like, oh, it's only a little bit. You know what? Let me just buy these out, and don't mind the universal shard. I needed it to get somebody to 3 stars to get even more shards. All right, because you can see I still have a lot of honor campaign. All right, don't go too crazy on this because this right here plus the mythical where you at plus these they're gonna be hard to get as the season as we progress. It's gonna be hard for y'all to get honor medals. All right, so that's why we always tell you, hey, get blueprints now. All right, and don't even get these right here. But those are the main places you can get them from: big events, VIP store, and then the
I can't
honor.
remember for sure, but I think there is some to get in the campaign
In the
store.
in the campaign, yes, there's also some in the campaign.
Is it worth spending on them?
Yes, heck yes. You should. On the campaign store, your goal is to clean this whole thing out. As you can see, I haven't even cleaned this out. All right, but you should be cleaning all of this out as best you can.
Yeah.
All right, mine is
Except
this.
except the battle drone.
Do not buy this. Do not buy that, and definitely do not buy this. All right, but yes, buy this. Buy the speed ups. I buy this also as well. I didn't get a chance to do it, but that's fine. It's about to be a new week. All right, but you should be buying everything in here. All right, minus these three: 1, 2, and 3. Do not buy. Everything else, yes, buy.
Got it. Thanks, guys.
Yep, no problem. You get a shit ton of these. All right, through Doom Elites. So there's no point on buying these, and you already know you get these basically for dirt cheap. Like, let me see. I haven't even merged. You already get them for free. So bam, I already got 3,500 for free. All right, we're good on unit decos.
I think so.
All right.
Unless if anyone, we have people coming in all the time.
Okay.
So someone definitely missed, but you have a recording. Will it be published?
Yes, I still got to do expectations of season 1. I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now. of what I'm using to show to y'all. And if I can copy it, and then I'm gonna switch over to season one. And there we go. I just Come on, post. Oh, no wonder. My mouse is not working. All right, let me change screens real quick. Change screens. All right, can everybody see the screen? Yep.
Yes, I can.
All right. You can read about it. All right, I sent you a link of like season one. All right. Don't go in too deep into it. All right, let it all unfold as everything goes along. All right. But literally in season one, everything will change. All right. The map is gonna change. We're gonna receive a countdown that says, "Hey, this is the countdown to season one." All right, then we're gonna get a download package, and we're gonna get a nice little 100 diamond for it. All right, then you get it in your mail. And then it's pretty much gonna start. All right, I'm not gonna dive too deep into this because I'll do another class the next week prior to really dive in a little bit more. All right. But season one, we're gonna have a pre-season, which is gonna be 2 weeks, and then 8 weeks of the season, and then we're gonna have a season celebration. All right. In the preseason, all right, you can't really do much. All right, you're gonna see the new features. There's not gonna be much for you to do, all right, except kind of read up on it and get your mind ready for it. All right. Then once we're in season, all right. Once we're in season, this should be everybody's goal. All right. The whole purpose of season one, all right, is to get your virus resistance up. This right here. All right. Because without this virus resistance, yeah, I have a 23 million power squad. I could take on everything. No, you're not. All right. No, you're not. All right. You will not be able to take on anything. All right. All the Doom elites are going to be way stronger because your resistance, all right, to them, all right, it's weaker. All right. How do you get your resistance up? All right. We're going to get new buildings. All right. They're going to be at the very front of our base. We're going to get some new buildings. All right. We're going to get protein farms, a virus research institute. All right. And this is all the buildings I want you to focus on when season one happens. All right. You need to upgrade them all together. All right. Because the way for you to get the next building is going to tell you, hey, all right, it's going to be weird. In order for you to get this one, it's going to tell you, hey, this one has to be at level 5. All right. So, like, you want to upgrade them all together. All right. You don't want to upgrade one to level 30 right off the rip and then try to play catch up with the other ones. All right. You want to upgrade them kind of like together as soon as you get them. All right. But our biggest goal is literally to boost our resistance. All right. Well, in order for us to boost our resistance, all right, we need mute.
I'm okay not being an influencer.
Who's,
to be honest, the power scares me.
there we go. All right. In order for us to get, all right, to upgrade the buildings, we need mutant crystals. All right, we get these by multiple things. We could get them from attacking monsters, from events, all that good stuff, but we're gonna need them to pretty much upgrade all these right here. All right. I'll talk about the map in a little bit, and as well as the city captures. Yep. In week 3, all right, we're gonna get Mason, and then War expansion. All right, but week 3 is when we get Mason from purple to ultra rare. Save it. All right, do not use it right away. Save you upgrading Mason to ultra rare. All right, use it mainly for versus. All right, you're like, all right, cool. I got Mason to. I have everything I need to get Mason to ultra rare. Don't do it right off the rip. Do it for when it's versus for hero day. Okay. When it's hero day, that's when you want to use it because guess what? You're gonna get points for using shards. All right, you're gonna get points for using your skill medals. Then guess what? You're gonna upgrade Mason to ultra rare. You get all those skill medals back, to, as well as your shards back. You get to use them again. All right, so Lily in season 2 is when you're gonna start seeing people dumping like billions of points, and it's probably because of Mason. You know, especially right at the beginning. All right, and that's pretty much about it. I want to stop there. Let me go to the map real quick. Let me go to the map. Where is the map? Where did I save my map? Hold on, I'm pulling up the map real quick. Let me change screens. All right. Could everybody see the map?
Yes, sir.
All right. The center, all right, it's kind of the same setup how we have it. All right, this is the tech buff. This is the construction buff. And then this one is the military buff. And then obviously the capital. All right. And then there's a bunch of other cities, all right, all around. When season 1 starts, everybody's over here. We're all starting over here. We're basically starting as if it's like a new game. And then obviously our whole goal is to, make our way closer, all right, or towards be, right over here. All right. When you start, these little blocks right over here, all right, these are strongholds. You need to capture a stronghold to capture a village. All right, you need to capture a stronghold to then capture a village. All right, you cannot capture this stronghold and then go for this village. All right, you cannot capture this and then try to go for this. They have to be touching. All right, so if you capture this, you can go up, or you could go right here, or you could go right here. All right. So remember that cities have to be touching in order for you to go and capture that land. All right. Season 1 is all about influence points. All right. How do you get influence points? You get influence points by capturing land, and capturing cities is the most. All right. The more cities you have, the more influence points you have, which means that's how you'll end the season with that many um with X amount of points. If that makes sense. Right now, none of the top alliance have decided who's gonna get which level 6 land. All right, and then obviously who's gonna get the level 5s, because the level 5s still give out a decent amount of points, and then even also the level 4 lands. All right, we haven't decided. They haven't mentioned it. They've asked about it, but we haven't decided about it. We'll throw something together and then it'll buff out. All right.
What's that build hall for?
Which one?
There's a no number. It's build hall. Yeah, just right on your left side.
This one?
Oh yes, this one.
Oh, that was a level 5. It probably just cut off right here, but that's a level 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the bell towers. All right, you see bell towers are all level 5s. All right, and the manors are all level 4s, and then the 3s are the playgrounds, and then I think the 2s are small towns and village. So always remember that bell towers are level 5s. There's 5 level 5 bell towers, and then I think 12 level 4s. But yeah, I don't want to confuse anybody on this. All right. For the R4s, all right, you can only capture 2 strongholds per day, and you can only capture 1 city per day. But if you capture a city, you're then able to capture an additional stronghold. All right. So again, these are strongholds. These are cities. So if we were to come here, capture this, go here. All right. We can then kind of move two tiles up. All right. To then maybe even capture one of these, or even go straight for the level 3. All right. It's multiple ways on how to do it. Again, everybody's goal is to start here and work our way over here. All right. Later on, as time goes along, I'll talk about a little bit more of like what tricks and tips we can do to kind of help our land. All right, I could talk about that later on, especially with our allies friends, such as PKBD, or even our sister alliance, NEST, or even anybody else that's allies with us. All right, we could do a trick to kind of protect our land. It only works for, I want to say, 24 hours. But it's still a tip and trick to kind of protect our land on a daily basis, especially if we're like, hey, this is the land we want. This is the land we need. This is pretty damn good right here. We're good. We're good with these points right here and the rewards that we're gonna get. We don't need to be greedy and try to capture a whole bunch of land, because the more land you have, the harder it is for you to protect. All right, because it's not just your land that you have to protect here; it's also the land that you have to capture somewhere else in a different war zone. All right, or in a different server. All right, because remember with season 1, the same way we can go to other servers and get their land, it's the same way they could come in and get our land. All right, so that's why we always want to be nice and friendly to other servers when either they come and attack us or we go and attack them. Because if they hold a grudge against us, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Neza, yeah, you guys were talking smack, the other day. Yeah, you know what? This is a nice level 4 land right here that I want. Y'all kept plundering our task. They kept plundering our train. Yeah, we're talking smack in world chat. Yeah, we're gonna come in. Well, all right, when we're kind of trying to be busy, trying to capture our level 6. Anybody can then come in and just, you know, take that away from us, or even our allied members. But we will know about it, all right, because you're able to place a help me out, Max, outpost.
Yes, outpost.
All right, you're able to place an outpost. All right, if another server places an outpost anywhere on the map, all right, the president gets notified about it. All right, everybody in that server, but mainly the president, gets notified about it. That hey, Jesse 1989 has placed outposts on level 4 Manor Land. All right, we're all gonna see and we're all gonna know about it, and it goes vice versa for when you go to another server and you place a military outpost on their land, they're gonna get notified about it. All right, but any questions on the map and like the first couple of weeks of season 1? All right, I'm gonna do a little quick recap, real quick. So, where is it? Let me change my screen.
I'm not sure if anyone wants to know how we will be moving throughout the map, like as a group, like why we pushed knowing the teleporting so much all this time before
we push
before this.
for you to use your free versus teleport as to compare it to using your advanced teleport, because we're going to be doing a lot of jumping. Remember how I just said, hey, we could capture 2 strongholds per day and 1 city per day, and if we capture 1 city, we're able to capture an additional stronghold. So that's 4 jumping we have to do in 1 day. Obviously, we're probably not gonna do that. We're probably gonna, do it small. We're probably gonna do 2 jumps and see, how it works out. And then eventually, as we get better, then yeah, we'll start doing a couple more. All right, but
And the enemy they have a delay before they can invade our server.
mhm. I'll talk about that one in a little bit. But your first week, focus on getting your resistance up. All right. If you get your resistance up, you will be all right. All right. I forgot to talk about getting infected. Try not to get infected. All right. We'll talk about how we can use this getting infected and then blowing up as like a battle tactic. All right. Y'all gonna probably see me use it. All right, later on. Look out for acid rain. It's just gonna infect. It's just gonna infect you, and if you build up too many virus stacks, and of course, you blow up, and then your allies can cure you. All you got to do is scout them, and you'll be able to heal them. All right, but again, focus on your protein farms and your virus research institute. Focus on those. There's gonna be a $5 weekly season pass. You don't have to buy it, but if you buy it, just buy it till you finally get max resistance. Once you get max resistance, there's no need for you to keep buying the weekly pass. You know, um, this is how the stronghold looks. All right, it has a guardian, all right, or a stronghold guardian. You have to look at their title. All right, some of them are tank, some of them are air, and some of them are missile. Try to use somebody who has a strong tank and a strong resistance. All right, to go up against a missile stronghold. All right, they want to be a strong tank, and they also want to be a strong resistance. All right, to capture the corruptors. These are called corruptors right here. They're like mini bosses for the strongholds. We already talked about influence poems. We already talked about Mason. Let me see if I'm missing anything else. All right, yeah, that's it. I want to just stop right there. The first week, focus on your resistance, focus on your protein farms and virus institute, and just take your time on capturing land, but still be quick with it. As you can see, that's a stronghold. That's a land, stronghold, land, stronghold. All right, and land. And then they went for two stronghold, and then boom, the level 6. All right, the more land, all right, mainly land. The more land you have, the more points. All right, strongholds also give out points. Not a whole lot, but they do give out points to strongholds. And I'll stop there. I'm not gonna go too deep into these over here. All right.
Okay, I think there's a new feature like a career that we can choose like
I,
warlord or
I,
engineer.
I'm gonna talk about that one on the next class. All right.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna talk about that one on the
Actually,
next class. You're talking about the professions,
I like to know though.
huh? You say
I
you,
like to know though.
yeah, on the next class. On the next class, I'll tell you about it.
But like, what happens in the next episode? That kind of part. So, what is the profession?
There gonna be additional skills that we're gonna get. All right, in season 1. All right. Let me actually. I'll just tell you this. All right. Let me just switch back to the game. All right. I have an hour to like get into the arena. All right. There's gonna be war leader. All right. And there's gonna be engineer and diplomat. I don't know too much about the diplomat. All right, but the main two is engineer and war leader. All right. Let me find one. Spartacus. She needs to be an engineer. Bad Daddy, Rails, Battle Scholar, Comrade. They all need to be engineers. All right. If you're still below level 30 and you haven't started your special forces, be an engineer. All right. You're gonna get some very very good buffs. All right, and then I'll talk about it on the next class. All right, that are gonna help you get to level 30 and also help you get your T10s and even help you after season 1. All right, but if you already have all that stuff, all right, be a war leader. Both are needed. All right. I'm pretty sure. Where's our little shark? All right. All right. Hickey, the real Hickey, not that Hickey. Oh, there you are. He's probably gonna pick War Leader. All right. It's just he might as well. All right. If he picks Engineer, I'm gonna knock him in the head and be like, "Why'd you do that?" All right. But like me,
Is this choice permanent?
yes, the choice is permanent. All right. The only thing that's not permanent is the seasonal skills. All right. You have seasonal skills on the right. They're the green ones. You'll see when I talk about it. All right. You get all those skills back, all those points for those skills back, and then when the new season comes out, it'll have new seasonal skills, and then you can put those points into those seasonal skills. But engineer is pretty useful for to help those who are not at level 30 and to help yourself get to level 30. All right. But if you're already at level 30 and you already started working your T10s, all right, like me, I'm probably just going to go. We'll see. I'll let y'all know what I pick. All right. I will let y'all know what I pick. If I pick War Leader or Engineer, I will let y'all
If
know.
you pick engineer, you will smack yourself in the head as well.
Yeah, I probably will. I probably will if I pick Engineer. Cause I'm not like Hickey, or even where you at, or even like the whales. The whales are perfect for war leaders. Y'all know how I fight. I rather pick engineer and help with some other buildings and all that. But we shall see. I will let y'all know what I end up picking. All right.
What diplomat does, like at least approximately?
I haven't really touched it. I was an engineer.
I can find it online, right?
Yeah, you should be able to find it online.
Okay, cool.
But like I was mainly an engineer the last time, and it was a good buff. Um, but yeah, we shall see. All right. Any other questions?
You said you will tell how you will infect everyone.
Oh, wrong one. All right. Whoever has this skin, all right. In season one, we're gonna have a skill that allows us to infect other people. All right. Whenever we get ported into their hive. So me and Frizzle, looks like me and Frizzle are the main ones that have it. All right. I think that's JSAB and Daku. They have it, so they're gonna have some fun. Who else has it? That's about it. This person has it. Donnie the dealer. He's gonna have some fun, and I think that's about it. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna be able to infect other people because we have this skin. All right, and hopefully let them blow up and all that good stuff. But y'all gonna see. It'll be fun.
Ralphie, how did you get that skin and how can I get it?
I bought that. I ain't gonna lie. I bought that skin. I was like, you know what? It was
Where and how?
huh? In Valentine's.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Valentine's, I had enough tickets to get decos and to get the skin because I was able to score one of those what was it, the thousand tickets, or the whatever the Valentine one was.
I think it was 200 if you picked the correct box,
Yeah.
and you bet 5. I think it was 200.
Okay. But any other questions?
What do you do if you got infected?
I will tell my allies member to cure me. All right, you just scout them. So there'll be another button with like the little needle, and you just basically scout them, and then that's how you heal them.
So basically, in order to survive, we need 24/7 online. And can everyone, like, how often I can get infected, and how many times my ally members can help me? And does it cost them anything,
No,
like with fires?
no, it doesn't cost. It doesn't cost. It's just a scout. You can only do it once, one at a time. But it's just a scout. I'm literally like, there will be another button right here with the needle. If I see that, if I see Bad Dad was infected, it'll literally have purple on his base, and it'll have a number. He can't get to 100, so that's the goal. The goal is to keep you under 100. If you get to 100, you blow up.
And if you blow up, what happens? Your HQ goes to 1?
No, you just get randomly ported.
So like some sort of ash?
No,
So
you don't lose troops or anything like that.
what I'm
But
hearing is I had better be good at porting around going into season 1.
yeah,
So are there more free teleports, ways to teleport, or are we still buying advanced teleports? Are we using server teleports with fewer cooldowns? Any ideas on that?
everybody should be buying alliance teleports at a minimum. All right. Now then, remember, we're still gonna have verses. All right, we're still gonna have verses, but during verses, we're gonna be focused on verses. All right, you're still gonna be able to use, a teleport with the verses. All right, but throughout the week, like Monday through Sunday through Friday. All right, we're gonna need teleports. All right, at a minimum, the alliance one, and of course the advanced teleports if you got them. All right, but mainly the alliance teleports is the main one we'll need, because that's when we're going to use the alliance marker to be like, hey, we're going over here. Hey, we're going over here, or XYZ and all that. Next question. Do y'all like my mouse? It's red. I did it just for y'all.
It's dope. It's dope, bro.
I did it just for y'all.
Prefer yellow, like a banana.
I'll think about it. She owes me a 1G farm.
You are so full of it. Stop telling people that.
No, this is facts. I know.
No.
But all right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming. See y'all after reset. Let me go to the arena. If y'all wanna